A farm animal presses its face to a lit window, watches the pigs inside laughing with the men, and can no longer tell which is which. In another world, a man in a bare cell is shown 4 fingers and made to scream that he sees 5. One writer built both of those rooms, and he built them to warn you that they are the same room. This is the story of how a dream of freedom turns into a boot on a human face, not once, but twice. George Orwell wrote humanity's 2 great nightmares of power, and he wrote the second one while he was dying, because he was terrified the first hadn't been enough. Stay with me, and you'll see exactly where the revolution goes wrong, and why he swore it could happen anywhere, to anyone. The same nightmare, written twice. It begins with a dream. On a farm run into the ground by a drunk named Mr. Jones, an old prize boar called Major gathers every animal into the barn at night. He has seen a vision, and he wants to speak it before he dies. Our lives, he tells them, are miserable, laborious, and short. We are born, we are worked to the last atom of our strength, and the moment we stop being useful, we are slaughtered. And why? Because a single creature consumes without ever producing man. Remove man, Major says, and the root of hunger and overwork is gone forever. The animals listen, electrified. He teaches them an anthem of the world to come, beasts of England, and one law above all others to bind them. All animals are equal. 3 nights later, old Major dies, but the dream does not die with him. The spark catches sooner than anyone plans. Jones forgets to feed them. The animals break into the store shed, and when the men come with whips, something snaps. The animals charge, astonished, terrified. Jones and his men are chased clean off the farm. It is theirs. They can hardly believe it. They gallop the boundaries. They burn the whips and the knives, and they rename the place Animal Farm. 2 young pigs, Snowball and Napoleon, have taught themselves to read, and they distill Major's dream into 7 commandments, painted in great white letters on the barn wall for all to see. No animal shall sleep in a bed. No animal shall drink alcohol. No animal shall kill any other animal. And the 7th, the heart of it all animals are equal. For one shining season, it is true. Then the milk goes missing. Every day the cows are milked, and every day the pails of creamy milk simply vanish, until the animals notice it has all gone into the pig's mash. The apples too. There is a murmur. Weren't we all equal? And here comes Squealer, the smoothest talker on the farm, to explain. Comrades, he says, you don't imagine we pigs are doing this for ourselves? Milk and apples are essential to brain workers. We eat them so we can manage the farm for your sake. Do you want Jones to come back? That question ends every argument. Nobody wants Jones back, so the animals nod, and the pigs keep the milk. It is such a small thing. That is exactly why it works. The first brick of the new tyranny is laid, and it is laid with the animals' own consent. Now the farm has a problem. The dream never mentioned. 2 leaders who cannot stand each other. Snowball is brilliant and restless, full of plans, chief among them a windmill, his idea that would bring electric light and easier labor to every stall. Napoleon is quieter, heavier, and says little in the debates. Instead, he does something no one notices. When 2 farm dogs have puppies, Napoleon takes the 9 of them away to educate them and raises them in secret, out of sight, on a diet of loyalty to him alone. While Snowball draws blueprints on the barn floor and wins the animals with his tongue, Napoleon is quietly building something else. Not an argument, an army. The revolution thinks it is choosing between 2 visions. It is about to learn it was never a choice at all. The day the animals gather to vote on the windmill, Napoleon makes a strange high sound, and in bound 9 enormous dogs, grown now, teeth bared, straight for Snowball. This is the same Snowball who once led the animals to victory when Jones tried to storm back, the hero of the Battle of the Cowshed, decorated for his courage. Now he runs for his life and is chased off the farm, never to be seen again. The animals stand frozen. Napoleon announces there will be no more debates, no more Sunday votes. A special committee of pigs, meaning himself, will decide everything. And the windmill? Work begins at once. It was, Squealer explains, Napoleon's idea all along. Snowball stole it. The animals remember it differently, but the dogs are watching, and memory is a dangerous thing to trust out loud. Boxer, the great cart horse, strong as any three animals, settles it for himself with a phrase he will repeat until the day he dies. Napoleon is always right. Whatever goes wrong now, there is a name for it. Snowball. The windmill, half built, collapses in a storm. Sabotage, says Napoleon. Snowball crept here in the night. Harvests fail, a wall cracks, a key goes missing. Snowball, always snowball. A traitor hiding everywhere and nowhere. Then comes the day Napoleon demands confessions. Animals shuffle forward and admit to crimes they cannot have committed, plotting with Snowball, whispering treason, and as each one finishes, the dogs are loosed. When it is over, there are bodies at Napoleon's feet and the smell of blood in the air, where no animal has been killed since the rebellion. The survivors creep away, shaken to the bone. Someone remembers the sixth commandment, no animal shall kill any other animal, and goes to check the wall. It now reads, no animal shall kill any other animal without cause. The words have changed. No one saw them change. Through all of it, one animal never wavers. Boxer, the enormous horse, believes in the farm with his whole simple heart. He rises earlier. He works harder. He hauls stone for the windmill until his lungs burn. And to every doubt, every horror, he has two answers. I will work harder, and Napoleon is always right. He is the best of them. The loyal, the uncomplaining, the strong. He is also, though he cannot see it, the most dangerous kind of citizen a tyrant can have. One who will believe anything and question nothing. The animals love Boxer. We love Boxer. And that is what makes what happens to him the moment you never forget. One morning, Boxer's great lungs finally give out, and he collapses in the traces of the windmill he built. Word comes that Napoleon has arranged, at great expense, to send his oldest comrade to the hospital in town. The animals are grateful. Then the van arrives. And Benjamin, the old donkey who has said almost nothing for the whole story, goes wild, reading aloud the words painted on its side. Alfred Simmons, horse slaughterer and glue boiler. They are not taking Boxer to a hospital. They are selling him to be killed and boiled down. His loyal body traded for a case of whiskey the pigs will drink that night. The animals gallop after the van, screaming his name. But Boxer is too weak to kick his way out, and the van does not stop. 3 days later, Squealer, wet-eyed, describes the beautiful death Boxer had in a hospital that does not exist. And most of the animals believe him. Years pass. The farm grows richer, and somehow the pigs grow richer while everyone else stays hungry and cold, exactly as they did under Jones. Then one evening, the sheep learn a new chant, and the animals look up to see something that stops their hearts. The pigs are walking on two legs, Squealer first, wobbling, then all of them. And last of all, Napoleon, upright, a whip in his trotter. The old cry, 4 legs good, 2 legs bad, has become 4 legs good, 2 legs better. Trembling, a few animals go to the barn wall where the 7 commandments once blazed. They are all gone. In their place is a single line. All animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. The dream has not been broken. It has been rewritten, word by word, until it means its own opposite, and no one can point to the day it happened. The last picture Orwell leaves us with is a dinner party. The pigs have invited the neighboring human farmers, the very enemy the whole rebellion was fought against, into the farmhouse, and the animals outside creep up to the window to watch. Inside, pigs and men toast each other, praise each other's methods for working their laborers hard on little food, and settle into a game of cards. Napoleon announces the farm will be called the Manor Farm again, its old name, from before the dream. Then a quarrel breaks out over cheating at cards, voices rising in anger, and the animals at the window look from pig to man, and from man to pig, and from pig to man again, and they cannot tell the difference. That is where Orwell's first warning ends, not with the tyrant defeated, but with the tyrant and the liberator revealed as the same face, which raises a darker question. What if the trap were so perfect you could never even reach this window? What if it lived inside your own head? Because Orwell was not finished. Animal Farm shows you tyranny from the outside, how a revolution eats itself, how the pigs slowly become the men. But 4 years later, dying of tuberculosis on a cold Scottish island, he wrote the same warning a second time, from the inside, from within a single human skull, in a world where the pigs won so completely that the barn wall no longer needs repainting, because there is no one left who remembers it ever said anything else. He said it in a future year he chose almost at random, 1984. It is a bright, cold day in April, and the clocks are striking 13. Winston Smith, 39, climbs to his flat past a poster on every landing, an enormous face, dark mustache, eyes that follow you. Big Brother is watching you. In every room, a telescreen watches and listens and can never be shut off. The nation, Oceania, is ruled by 4 ministries whose names are jokes told with a straight face. The Ministry of Peace runs the endless war. The Ministry of Plenty runs the endless shortages. The Ministry of Love runs the torture. And the Ministry of Truth, where Winston works, runs the lies. Above them float 3 slogans, and they are not hidden. They are the party's proud creed. War is peace. Freedom is slavery. Ignorance is strength. This is the farm at the end of the road, generations later, with the window sealed shut. Winston has committed no crime, but he is about to. In a corner of his flat the telescreen cannot quite see, he opens a smooth, cream-colored book he bought in secret, dips a pen, and writes 3 words, then more, faster, in a kind of panic, down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother. There is no law against it. There are no laws at all. But he knows that this, the mere holding of a forbidden thought, is the one true crime, the crime that contains all others. They call it thought crime. And thought crime cannot be concealed forever. He has seen what happens at the daily 2 Minutes Hate, when the whole room screams itself hoarse at the face of the traitor Goldstein. He has felt the machine reach into a crowd and turn it into one animal. Now he has set himself against that machine with nothing but a pen and a secret. He is, he writes, already a dead man. Thought crime is not punished by death. Thought crime is death. He is right. By day, Winston is a small cog in the lie. His job at the Ministry of Truth is to correct the past. A speech Big Brother gave last year praised a man now branded a traitor. So Winston rewrites the old newspaper to erase him, drops the true version down a slot into a furnace, and the man simply never existed. They have a word for a person deleted this way, an unperson. Winston does this 100 times a day. Every book, every record, every photograph, endlessly revised so that the party is never wrong, was never wrong, could never be wrong. Because the party has understood something the pigs only stumble toward with a paintbrush. Who controls the past, controls the future, and who controls the present, controls the past. If you own every copy of what happened, you own what is true. And if you own what is true, there is nothing a mind can stand on to say, no, I remember, it was different. And yet Winston clings to one solid thing. In his diary, he writes it like a prayer. Freedom is the freedom to say that 2 + 2 make 4. If that is granted, all else follows. Somewhere out there, he tells himself, reality is still real. A stone is heavy. Water is wet. The dead are dead. If there is hope, he writes, it lies in the proles, the vast unwatched masses who still live and love and grieve like human beings. If only they could wake. Winston is looking for one crack in the sealed window, one place where the truth cannot be repainted. He finds 2. A dark-haired girl who keeps appearing near him, and a senior party official named O'Brien, whose eyes, for one flickering instant during the hate, seemed to say, I am with you. I am on your side. Both will change his life. Only one of them is telling the truth. The dark-haired girl slips a folded note into his hand. He is certain it is a death warrant, an accusation. He opens it. It says, I love you. Her name is Julia, and she is nothing like the grim conspirator Winston imagined. She is warm, reckless, alive, a rebel not of theory, but of appetite, who breaks the rules simply because she wants to live. They meet in secret, in a hidden clearing in the country, later in a rented room above a junk shop, where, they believe, no telescreen watches. In a world that has outlawed love, that has drained joy and privacy on purpose because a happy person is hard to rule, their affair is the most dangerous act of rebellion 2 people can commit. For a while, in that little room with its old glass paperweight and its scrap of forgotten song, they are almost free. They know it cannot last. They are the dead. But they have stolen something the party cannot rewrite, a moment of being human. Then O'Brien makes contact. He is everything Winston hoped, cultured, powerful, and, he confides, a secret member of the Brotherhood, the underground resistance led by Goldstein himself. In his elegant flat, O'Brien enrolls Winston and Julia into the conspiracy and gives Winston the forbidden book, the traitor Goldstein's book, that explains how the whole system truly works. Winston reads it hungrily in the secret room, Julia dozing beside him, and it confirms everything he suspected, that the war is a fraud to keep the people poor, that the party rules for reasons of its own. O'Brien has told him they will one day meet in the place where there is no darkness, and Winston clings to the phrase like a promise of dawn. He has found comrades. He has found the truth. He has found hope. He has, in fact, walked willingly into the most elaborate trap ever built for a single human mind. It happens in the secret room, in the middle of a quiet moment. A cold voice speaks, not O'Brien's, not Julia's. It comes from behind the picture on the wall. There has been a telescreen there the whole time, listening to every whispered word, every act of love, for months. The kindly old shopkeeper downstairs is an officer of the thought police. The room was bait. Boots pound up the stairs. The door bursts. Someone smashes the little glass paperweight on the hearth, and the fragment of the old world inside it shatters on the floor. They take Julia away first, and the man who walks in to complete Winston's arrest, calm and almost sad, is O'Brien. There was no brotherhood. There was only the hunt, and Winston, writing his defiance in a diary 7 years ago, had already been caught. The place where there is no darkness was never freedom. It is the cell where the lights never go out. In the Ministry of Love, O'Brien becomes Winston's torturer, his teacher, and most terrible of all, almost his friend. He does not simply want Winston to obey. He wants to reach inside and reshape what Winston is, until the man loves what he was tortured by. O'Brien holds up his hand, 4 fingers extended. "How many fingers am I holding up, Winston?" "4, Winston says. "And if the party says it is 5? The pain begins, and it does not stop until Winston no longer knows, until, dizzy and broken, he genuinely tries to see 5. This is the thing the pigs only dreamed of, not just controlling the words on the wall, but controlling the eyes that read them. The party, O'Brien explains, is not content to command what you say. It intends to command what is real. Reality is inside the skull, Winston, and the party holds the skull. Then Winston asks the question at the center of both of Orwell's books. Why? Why does the party do this? Surely for the people's own good, for some future paradise. O'Brien almost laughs. The party seeks power, he says, entirely for its own sake. Not power to make anyone happy, power for the sake of power. Power that is its own reward. The old tyrants at least pretended they were leading you somewhere. We do not pretend. And then he gives Winston the image that answers old Major's dream across 4 years and 2 books. If you want a picture of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face, forever. This is where the milk and the apples were always heading. This is what some animals are more equal becomes when it stops needing to lie. Not a destination, just a boot and a face, and forever. One thing in Winston will not break. Beaten, starved, made to confess anything, he still holds a single square inch of himself. He still loves Julia, and inwardly, secretly, he has not betrayed her. O'Brien knows it. So Winston is taken to the last door, room 101, which contains, O'Brien says, the worst thing in the world, and the worst thing in the world is different for every person. For Winston, it is rats. They bring a cage of them, starving, and fit it toward his face, and in the last instant before it opens, Winston does the only thing that can save him, and the one thing he swore he never would. He screams for it to be done to someone else. "Do it to Julia," he cries. "Not me, Julia." And in that sentence, he hands them the last free thing he owned. The love was the fortress. The party did not need to destroy it from outside. It made him open the gate. This is the betrayal the whole book was walking toward. The same betrayal Boxer's farm walked toward, turned inward, made total. They let him go. There is nothing dangerous left in him to keep. Winston sits in a cafe, drinking gin, bloated and gray, a man with a hole where a self used to be. He meets Julia once, by accident. She betrayed him too, in her own room 101. They confess it flatly and feel nothing and part. The telescreen murmurs of a great victory in the endless war, and Winston, gazing up at the vast face on the wall, feels tears of love prick his eyes. The struggle is finished. He has won the victory over himself. He loves Big Brother. It is the bleakest final line in modern literature, and it completes the picture the farm began. On the farm, the animals looked through the glass and could no longer tell the tyrant from themselves. Here, there is not even a window left to look through. The tyrant is inside, and it is loved. Orwell added one quiet appendix that is somehow the most chilling part of all. It describes Newspeak, the party's project to shrink the language itself, to delete words year by year, until concepts like freedom and rebellion have no words left to hold them. If there is no word for a thought, they reasoned, in time there can be no thought. The plan is not complete until the year 2050. It is the barn wall of Animal Farm perfected into a science. The pigs edited the commandments, but the party edits the dictionary, because the surest way to make a lie permanent is to erase the language that could name it as a lie. Control the words, and you don't just win the argument, you end it forever by making the other side unthinkable. So why did one man write the same nightmare twice? Because Orwell had watched a revolution he believed in curdle into terror, and he understood something most of us would rather not. Tyranny does not usually arrive as a foreign army. It arrives as your own side, wearing your own dream, one small compromise at a time. A little milk to the brain workers, a single word added to a rule on the wall, a face on a poster that only wants to keep you safe. Animal Farm shows you the how, the slow, almost reasonable slide from all animals are equal to some are more equal. 1984 shows you the end, a mind so remade it loves the boot. Between them, they name the only two things a free person truly owns, the memory of what was true and the words to say it out loud. Guard those, Orwell is telling you, or you will lose everything else and not even remember you had it. He wrote the same warning twice, dying, because he was afraid that once would not be enough to make us listen. The question he leaves you holding is simple, and it is not about a farm or a year. It is this: are you still listening?